Hello. Hi everyone. Thank you guys for joining. Are you able to hear me all right? I will just... Yes, sounds like that. So, happy to see you, a few viewers today as well. We're live on X, we're live on YouTube, and on TikTok actually. So we're live on 3 different platforms. I will try to keep track of all chats on the screen here. If you have any questions, write it in the chat and I will get to it as soon as possible. If you have any questions about our products, about anything at all, then just let me know. Yeah. Sorry, I'm a little bit under the weather today. Yeah, so today we're going to talk about the results of March. We are going to look at the first week of April, results-wise, and specifically look at the Capital Climbing Club account. Yeah, that's the 2 points that I've planned for. I was thinking that we could have this session as a Q&A session, so I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. All right. Let's see. Let's start with March results. That's always a fun thing to do, to look at the results whenever a month has been making us money. can bring up the website. Most of you are probably aware by now that we have a dedicated page on our website that looks like this. This is a dedicated page for the results of our algos. So this page contains all the details about how the algos have performed on a monthly basis. You can see the aggregated results of all algos. You can see the results of each individual algo. You can see drawdowns. You can see which months have been positive, which have been months have been negative. You can also, with this new calculator here, determine how your results would look like with your initial capital and with your preferred setting on max drawdown. So these two inputs here will decide which position size you can run our algos with. So whatever you put here, whatever you input in these two fields will determine the position size, which will subsequently determine what the historic results would have been. So we are often talking about minimum position size when we say that the results have been 5,000 euros with minimum position size. What we mean by that is a position size looking like this. Let me zoom in a bit. Could zoom in even further. Yeah, so when we say a minimum position size, these are the position sizes that we are talking about. So all DAX algos running with one contract, all Wall Street algos running with 0.5 contracts, and the prime algos, the SP500 algos running with 3 contracts, and so on. The reason that there are a different number of contracts depending on which market, the reason for that is that we want to factor the position size so that the risk taken by each algo will be the same risk as any other algo. If we would run all algos on all markets with one contract size, the amount of risk would differ between the algos, as the contract is relevant or connected to the actual fixed price of the index. So DAX is at, or let's say Wall Street Cash is at 38,000 or something like that, and DAX is half that, which means that you would have to have a double the position size on DAX to have the same amount of risk, the same amount of reward, and the same amount of position size between those two algos. So that's what we mean when we talk about minimum position size. And I think that actually answered your question, Tastio. And you have a second question: how do you calculate how much one contract is? So these CFD contracts are can be quite hard to understand at first. It's not really that hard, but if you're used to just trading with stocks, then you put 10,000 into a stock, it goes up 50%, then you have 15,000 when you sell. That's like trading stocks. With these CFD contracts, it works a little bit differently. As I explained, one contract of €1 means that if the market, the index that you are invested in, moves let's say 250 points, that would mean that you would gain 250 times one contract. So that's how it works. And the contract size that we use is mostly one euro. So yeah, let's say that Wall Street cash, i.e. Dow Jones, moves, let's say 10% in a week. Imagine such a case. That would be me approximately 3,800 points or something like that. If you would be invested with, let's say, 3 contracts, what you would have gained if you catch that move would be 3 times the amount of points that you that the index has moved. So 3,800 points times 3, something around 11,000. I don't know, 400. That's the amount you would have gained. The second part of a CFD contract is that is the question: how much do you actually need to deposit? How much capital do you actually need to have on your account to be able to buy such a contract? And for non-professional traders on IG, for example, the security margin needed is 5%, and that's another thing to explain. What does that mean? What it means is that the amount of capital you need, let's say that you buy one contract and the security margin needed is 5%, and let's say that the contract you buy is for DAX. So the amount of capital you would need on your account to hold that and to buy that contract would be 5% of whatever DAX is right now. So DAX is currently at 18,175. So 5% of 18,175 is 908 euros. So to buy one contract on DAX, you would need 908 euros with the contract size that we are talking about. There are different contract sizes. There could be 10 euro contract sizes. There can be 100 euro contract sizes. But we are using the 1 euro contract size. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I hope that explains it. If you have any more questions, please let me know if you want me to elaborate on something. Yes, it is a little bit complicated. I think I should do a little video on that to explain it better, and provide some slides for that as well. It's not that complicated once you've understood it, but it's another way to think about it compared to just investing in stocks. So you have to think about your security margin. You have to think about how much you're actually investing, and yeah, you have to understand how a certain number of points changed in an index, how much that would mean for you in terms of gain or loss. And yeah, it's not that hard once you've just gotten into it, but you need to do that. And perhaps I should try to provide some slides for that and make a video out of that. I think that would be a good idea. I know there have been similar questions throughout all years of ProRealAlgos, so probably a good idea to do that. Anyway, if you want to know more about the results of our algos, go to ProRealAlgos.com and /results. Yeah. So what we did in March was actually to develop this calculator. We found it to be helpful for traders to see what position sizes they could run with decided by what initial capital they have and whatever max drawdown they are willing to endure. So this calculator is based on a drawdown, the biggest drawdown that we have had, which was last year. So if you set a let's say 30% max drawdown with an initial capital of 10,000 euros. What this means is that the exact amount that you are willing to lose, the max drawdown is 3,000 euros, which is 30% of 10,000 euros. And what this calculator does is it generates position sizes so that the historic drawdown, which was last year, the historic max drawdown, which was last year, would have been exactly 3,000 euros. So that's how this calculator works. But of course, historic drawdowns can be exceeded by future drawdowns. So it's no guarantee that the a coming drawdown would be smaller. But we have been selling our algos now for 5 years or something like that, and yeah, the drawdown last year was significantly bigger than any drawdown that we have had earlier, and we think this is a good way to generate position sizes. But ultimately, the decision is yours. You have to make your own due diligence and also manage your own risk and money. No, I have not gone through the results yet of the Capital Climbing Club. We have only been live a week. Unfortunately, the first week was a losing week. I will go through the results soon, i.e. in a few minutes. I got another question. The thing is that if you look at the results ladder, it would be interesting to know how much you would need to invest to get these returns. Well, I think it's pretty clear in this calculator that you can set your own initial capital here, like 25,000 euros, and set your own max drawdown, and it would give you the results, the historic results with the generated position sizes. So the minimum amount you can start with is somewhere. Let's see, if I accept an 80% max drawdown, I can actually go down to 5,000 euros. So this is like max risk. It's a big risk that you would blow the account using these position sizes with this small initial capital. But with an initial capital of 5,000 euros and accepting an 80% max drawdown, that would generate these position sizes. These position sizes would have given you these results in the past. So these are real results, but determined by the position sizes that you have set here. So yeah, you would have made 784% in since November 2019. How long is that? 4.5 years. So that's all pretty good. Yeah, so let's get into the March results. So as you have noticed here, we have made a quite significant run-up since that max historic drawdown last year. We have 5 consecutive winning months here. It's actually, as you can see in the chart there, it's getting it's like skyrocketing here. We have not had this kind of run up any time before since we started selling our algos in November 2019. So yeah, we're happy with the results. April has started a little bit worse, so we are have lost some of that money that we made in March, but in comparison to this run up, the losses that we have made in the first month of April has been quite small. Yeah, there's a checkbox here, which I think is quite interesting. So the results you see here is without any reinvestment of profits at all. So these results are using these position sizes from start, making 784% and never increasing the position size. So I think this is a significant thing to talk about, because reinvestment of profits is what will make you really, really rich. Not reinvesting profits will just make you a little bit richer. But you need to continuously, in my opinion, increase the position sizes as the capital of your account grows. So if you check this box here, what will happen is it will appear a new line here, which will show you what the results is with a 5% position size increase every month. Yeah, so this is what you're getting. You're getting bigger drawdowns, of course, but you're getting quite a lot bigger winnings as well. So with the, I don't think it's relevant to use such a small initial capital with such a big drawdown, because you're risking too much. You might get lucky, have a few months of gaining, and you would not actually need to have any more initial capital. But if you would compare the end results here, the 263,620 euros compared to the initial capital of 5,000 euros, you would have made 5,200% in 4.5 years. Yeah, but I need to be clear here that the risk to blow the account using these position sizes compared to your initial capital is quite risky. But let's say that you would start with 20,000 euros, and instead you are just willing to accept a 30% drawdown. Yeah, you're still getting a lot of profits. All right, so let's look at, I have some questions, but let's look at just the 5 top algos of March. It's always fun to look at that. So you can see the individual results of each algo down below, but you might be interested, like, how did the algo perform on a monthly basis? What you see here is just the total results of that algo since it was released, with the position sizes here. But if you want to see how the algo has performed every month, either you sign up for the free trial and you backtest the algos yourself, or you go to the algos page, which you can find here. Products, and then you click algos. Scroll down a bit and you can see each individual algo here, and the results and the monthly equity curve since they were released. So yeah. Anyway, let's look at the top 5 algos of March. Number 1, CATS SP500H1. It's a newly released algo. We just released it, I believe it was in the middle of February or something like that. So first month it made no trades, and the second month it made a single trade of 1,194 euros. So we're very happy that this new algo has started like that. The second best algo of March was Prime DAX M15. That's also a new algo. released the same time as that one. First month it made 99.4 euros, and the second month in March it made 788 euros. The third best algo is an old algo. It's an older algo, sorry. It's the Prime DAO M5. This algo was the best algo of 2022. It has been struggling a bit in 2023, and now in 2024 it seems to be working great again. So this is how algo works. Algos will have periods of underperformance, and they will have periods of overperformance. And you shouldn't be too quick to stop an algo just because it's had a few months of losses. So we're actually at an all-time high again with the Prime DAO M5 algo, and it made a gain of 776 euros in March. The fourth best algo, CATS SP500 M10. Where is that? Here it is. So it's also a newly released algo. It had a good February, and it had a good March with a gain of 405 euros. And lastly, the fifth algo is the CATS DAX M3. By the way, the results I'm saying now, the numbers I'm saying now, is with minimum position sizing. And it's all scalable. So if you would run 2x minimum position size, you would have made twice the amount that I'm saying, twice the numbers that I'm saying. CATS DAX M3, the fifth best algo of March. Where can I find that? Here it is. It's one of my favorite algos. It's been quite stable. It doesn't have any major drawdowns. It has every 4 months or so a small loss, but it's working fine. It made a gain of 253 euros in March. So in total, the March results were 3,604 euros with minimum position size. Right, let's get to the next questions. What are the basic rules of trailing stops of the algos? Yeah. So what are the basic rules of the trailing stops of the algos? There are quite a lot, quite big differences between the algos. They work differently, so to say. The Prime algos works the same way, but the CATS algos all works in a different way. So yeah, so trailing stops. There is a built-in trailing stop in ProRealTime. That trailing stop will move the stop loss level, the actual stop loss level, whenever price goes in the direction that the position is in. But we have added code that's not using this native built-in trailing stop. We use that native built-in trailing stop as well, but we have built in other code that looks at how the position is, what the current gain of the algo is, what the historical current gain of the algo has been, and it's looking at how many bars the trade has been in. It's looking at the current volatility. So there are quite a lot of different codes handling the trailing stop. So even though we're not using that, the built-in trailing stop, an algo might exit a trade whenever price goes down from a higher position gain. I don't think I have like time to explain it in detail. We would need to look at each individual algo, as all algos work differently. What I think you're getting at, Pierre, is that you saw a trade last week that perhaps the algo could have kept more of the latent gain than it did. So what you're writing here is that the algo had some latent gains, and then the price went down. The algo could have exited the trade at least a break-even level. So there are, as I mentioned now a few times, differences between the algos. Some of the algos have that break-even code. What that does is it increases the win rate. It makes the backtest looks quite a lot better. But what we have seen is that it doesn't really help the end result. Let's just say that as a general observation that we have had, that you can add more break-even kind of trailing stops, making sure that at least you get some gains. But what we have noticed is that it might be good to keep the position even though the price goes down from your initial entry level. The price might go up again, and then you would have not been a part of that price increase, as you have exited trade at the break-even level. But we do actually have on a certain number of algos a kind of break-even code. It would be interesting, Pierre, to know if there's any specific algo you have in mind. We could look at that. But in general, I would say it makes the backtest look better. It increases the win rate, but the end results in terms of total end gain, it doesn't really make that better. While I wait for other questions, I will look at the results of the Carl Capital Climbing Club. All right, let's see. I got another question from B Art of Noise. Nice to see you here. So the question is, when two algos in the same instrument are in position, for example DAX M5 and DAX M15, one long, one short at the same time, none of them are making money, stop both manually? Question mark. So you're asking if by manual intervention you could perhaps make the results better in cases like this. I think you are onto something. There is one of the biggest limitations in ProRealTime, I would say, is the fact that you can't one algo can't know what another algo is doing. Let's put it like that. The limitation is that every algo works by itself and isolated from any other algo, and it can only run on one index, and it can only get data from one index, and so on. So that's one of the limitations of ProRealTime, and I think I'm absolutely sure actually that if there was a possibility to make algos be have other data sources, like perhaps if there are other algos in an opposite position on the same index, or uh, perhaps integrating a data source like the Wix index and stuff like that, you could actually improve the algos. Just looking at just having the actual instrument as a data source, I think it's a limitation of ProRealTime. I really hope that they develop support for adding other data sources, other uh, ways to other data sources in order to improve the algos. And um, yeah, so if you get to your exact question, should you perhaps intervene in the algos in those cases where there are multiple algos in the same instrument with opposite positions, i.e., that one is long and one is short? Um, and my simple answer is no. And why do I say no? Well, because I haven't, there is no way for me to actually backtest it. I wouldn't recommend intervening with the algos if I hadn't, if I don't know like how would that actually had affected the results historically. So I would love to see the like stats on that, the statistics on that, like how would the results change if we manually stopped algos from going into positions in the opposite direction. It would be an interesting thing to look at, but I could not recommend to do that without knowing how it would actually affect the end results. Um, and yeah, there's no way to backtest that. What we can do, or I wouldn't say that there's no way to do it. I guess that we could export all trades of all algos and make a Excel exercise, so to say, or code a Python script or whatever to look at that. But it would be quite time consuming to do that, but perhaps it's something that we should look at. So my general recommendation, be our noise, is to actually not intervene in the algos at all. Sorry about that. Yeah, what were I doing? Yeah, I was going to show you the trade analytics of the Capital Climbing Club. Okay, let's see. Where are we? Here we are. Okay. Actually, while I have this screen, I could pull up the individual results of all algos. So you can watch that. Okay, here is the Capital Climb Club account. So as most of you are aware, I have started a club. I'm calling it Carl's Capital Climbing Club, and it's pretty self-descriptive. What I'm doing in this club and what every participant is doing in this club is with the use of our algos, trying to get to the next level of net worth. And I started my own account dedicated to this on April 1st. I have multiple accounts, but I was intrigued to start another account to add some more capital and to in order to be able to better follow the results of every participant of this club. So unfortunately, we had a bad start. I started with 25,000 euros in the account, and the first week of trading resulted in a loss of 2,809 euros. So it was a bad start, which was quite sad and bad timing, since that the results of the last 5 months have been so stable. So it's just typical that you get a start like this. I would have hoped to get some gains in the first week, but well, the drawdown isn't big. The drawdown currently is let's see, 22,082, 25,000 euros. The drawdown is close to 12%, so it's not that big. And I was ready to accept a 33% drawdown, so we're quite far from that. But that is the results of April of that account. The results of April on our other accounts is better. Why is that? Well, because some of those trades opened in March before we started the algos in this account. So the results are actually better on all other accounts. Anyway, we are at a loss, 12% drawdown for my part. Might be smaller, might be bigger for other participants. It could be interesting for you to see which position sizes I'm running. Let me check that. Results. Where are we? So yeah, I started the algos with 25,000 euros, sorry, on this account, and I'm ready and willing to accept a drawdown of 33%. That generated these position sizes. So these are the position sizes that I'm currently running. All right, so I think that's that. That was the topics that I had planned to talk about. There are, as always, other things in the pipeline, other things in the backlog, other things coming up. I always try not to say things too early, but interesting things are happening. Algo-wise, company-wise, results-wise, probably. I cannot say more than that. I will give you the news as soon as I actually is eligible or allowed or legally allowed to say anything. So please just stay tuned for that. And yeah, if there are no other questions, I guess we could move on with our lives. And perhaps get some sleep, get better, get this coughing solved, and so on. And if you have no other questions, then thanks guys for watching. We will have a next live stream on May 5th. We might have another live stream in between that. I just like tuning in with you guys, and it is a possibility, an option for you to ask me questions. So I might do a live stream sometime in April as well. But if not, we will talk again on May 5th. And yeah. Thank you, Pierre. Oh, and I got one more question. Let's get to that. Lespa is asking, Lespa 212 is asking, can I start with a small capital and add some capital every month? How can I recalculate the position size? Yes, you can add whatever capital you want. If you would like to start with less than 5,000 euros, you will not be able to run all 29 algos, but you could run with a sub part or a fraction of the algos. So we currently have 29 active algos. You could run the algos with, you could run, let's say 5 algos or 10 algos or whatever, and as you say, add capital, deposit capital every month, and you could increase either your position size or the number of algos you are running. So that's completely possible. And yeah, how would you recalculate the position size then? Well, let's say that you start with 10,000 euros and you're willing to accept a 33% drawdown. Let's say that you are willing to start with a 30% drawdown and a like 6,000 or maybe 7,000 euros initial capital. Let's see, why isn't it showing any values here? Might be an issue. Let's say that you start with 6,000 euros and you're willing to accept a 50% drawdown. That would generate these position sizes. As you add capital to your account, let's say that you add 10,000 euros every month, and perhaps the capital of your account has grown during that month as well. So you add 1,000 euros and the algos have made 1,000 euros, which means that month 2 you would have 8,000 euros. You just type that into the calculator and that will generate new position sizes for you. Please remember then that you might want to adjust the max drawdown that you are willing to endure. So now when you got 8,000 euros on your account, maybe you're not willing to endure a 4,000 euros drawdown, and you would like to decrease this to 33% or something like that. It could be a good way to think about it, to decrease the max drawdown as the capital of your account grows. But that's completely possible. Just add your new numbers and yeah, change the position size accordingly. Okay, thank you guys for listening. Talk to you again on May 5th, 7 p.m. And yeah, you would have let's hope for a better second week of April. All right, thank you guys for listening. Bye.